So let's now begin to create our epics. In order to create any type of task, let's minimize this quick start here, we don't need it. In order to create any issue, we click on create, and here this is my project, and then the issue type is epic. So the epic has an epic name and summary. So we can create an epic which is called rider login. The summary, you can leave it empty if you don't need to explain the epic, but if it needs more explanation, you can write it in the summary. So here we can say the rider can log in using many ways: phone number, email, or Apple ID. Okay, and here like we see, he asks me this epic depends to which component, but here we see components because we can have the same epic inside more than one component. So if we click here, we see all the components. So the rider login is inside rider Android, rider iOS, and rider iPad OS. It can be included in more than one version. In the attachment section, you can attach anything that is relevant to this epic. For example, any wireframes, if you have a UI design or a prototype, if you have any UML diagram, like a sequence diagram, a state transition diagram, or a use case diagram, you can attach it here. So for example, I have here a UML use case diagram of Uber service. This would be useful for each person in the team, for the developer, the tester, the designer, and any other person. Here, for example, the user registers, enters the car details, logins, enters the pickup location, then enters the destination, chooses the type of ride, and requests a ride. Then the driver views the list of nearby passengers, accepts the passenger. In this case, the status of the driver is set to busy, and after the user is dropped, the payment confirmation is received, and the status of the driver is set to available. So this diagram will help me as a tester to design my test cases or test scenarios, and it also will help the developer to understand the application better. So it would be useful to attach it with the epic. Also, for example, here I have the login screen. This also would be helpful for each one of the team members to develop, design, and test the application better. So here we can attach those two photos for our team. The description is not required. If you need to write anything inside it, you can write it here, but you don't have to. Then the reporter is the person who wrote this epic. Linked issues. So for example, if this issue or this epic blocks another functionality or is blocked by another functionality. For example, registration blocks the login. You cannot log in until you register, but not vice versa. Then we have the fixed version. We did not create versions yet. The assignee is the person who should work on this issue. Then the priority, we have highest, high, medium, low, and lowest. Of course, the login is highest. The labels are like hashtags. So you can create here a new label with any name. So for example, you can call it main functionality. Okay. So in this case, all main functionalities are attached with this label. Then the epic link, the epic cannot have another epic link to it. So the epic can be linked to a component, and it can be linked to a user story. It also can be linked to a version, a sprint, but not another epic. Of course, until now we don't have any sprints. So now we are ready to create the first epic, which is the rider login. If I need to create another epic, I will click on create another, then click on create. Like you see, we will create another one, but here Jira is trying to make things simple for me. So the previous data is still here. The epic is created. This is the new one. So like you see, issue NA1, the rider can log in using phone number, email, or Apple ID has been successfully created. So let's create another epic, which is rider registration. Okay, the summary is the same. So also rider registration is in the rider Android, iOS and iPad OS. Here also I have a UI for the registration. I don't know whether this is the correct registration form in Uber or not, but let's consider it as the registration of Uber. So here we can attach it also, then create another sprint. And now I can create another epic. We have request a ride. Okay, let's create it quickly, then we can edit it. We have leave a rating. So like you see, the creation process is faster. You are getting used to the tool, and also if you make any mistake you can edit it later. Me personally, when I work on any agile project, I just create the names of the epics, the user stories, the functions and anything, and then begin to add descriptions. My previous trips. Okay, create. My wallet. Create. Request a ride for a friend. Okay, create. So those are my user stories. We can also go to the driver. So here I will change the components and we'll go to the driver Android, driver iOS, driver iPad OS, and create also the login. Let's call it driver login. Create driver registration. Create accept a ride. Decline a ride. Leave a rating also. The driver can leave a rating. My balance. Previous trips. My rating. Then set driver status. I will not create another, so I will remove this checkbox, click on create. So here we created all our epics. We can go to the product backlog and search for our epics, but also nothing appears. We created components, we created epics, but we don't see anything inside the backlog. Why? Because the backlog includes special types of issues. The backlog includes user stories, bugs, tasks, and subtasks. But the epics are like folders. They are not present inside the backlog. If I click on epics on the left side, you will see all your epics and each one has a specific color. All of them are empty. If I open any epic, it's empty. I can create an issue inside it. Also, we don't have any versions here because we didn't create versions.